Okay, so you can see that I've gone through and have my coordinates kind of pre-laid out. My initials again are AMG, so I'm going to start off my next one with an M. And in this assignment, you do have to have, you do need to have two curves in your assignment. So I'm going to include my two curves and my N here. And it makes it easier when you're doing curves if you keep the radius from your center the same going up and down. So on the X and the Y axis, but I'll get to that in a second. So I have A to B, B to C, and then C, and this will be D, A, B, C, D, E, and then I'm going to come back down to F. Okay, so wherever you put a point, I'm going to start my M down here for middle name, and whenever you start a point, it's nice to do a circle there that is 2 squares wide, because your bit is an 1/8 inch wide, and that's the minimum width that you'll be able to do, okay, as far as a letter is concerned. And then I'm going to go up my path to the very top here, okay, and that's going to be the left hand side of my M. And then what I'm really looking to do is to do some curve, do a curve right here, okay, so I'm doing my curve right there. And then there's my toolpath coming down. Okay, so I have E, F, G, H, and then I'm going to do another curve coming up here. And here's my I right there. Okay. And then J all the way down here. Okay, so if you keep your radius the same going on the y-axis and the x-axis, it makes things a little bit easier in the long run. So what I've done is I've kind of pre-counted out here. What I do is I just count out the spaces across, and that's 10 spaces across and between here, and then I just count how many spaces to the middle, which would be 5 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I know that my radius in this direction and this direction are the same, and that makes it really easy for the program and the software to follow a curve, because you're going to have to put a radius in there at some point. Same thing going this way. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you can do a larger radius than that, or you could do a smaller radius than that. You could just make sure that you're consistent and know where you're going to end up. So if I wanted to do 4, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my curve would end here, and then I have to go straight and then do another curve up here. So you can do like whatever radius you want. I just like to keep mine in the center. It makes it a little more simple, especially since this is just your intro to it and you're just doing a really simple initial block. Okay, so next up, we've got to actually start putting this language in, putting this in terms of a language that the program can understand. So the next thing you're going to want to do is take your coordinate planning tool. Okay, and we just have our A points and B points, C, and however many points you need. You could use as many points as you want, depending on how complicated you want it. But these are the points for my A letter right here. Okay, so I've done A. So I went over on the x-axis is 0.312. Sorry, you can't see that. Gone over the x-axis is 0.3125. And then on the y-axis is also 0.3125. So I've written my x and y on this as 0.3125 and 0.3125. And then I just went to point B and I wrote down the point that I want. And then C, I wrote down the point that I want. And D, and I've just literally gone through and named all of the points of the letters. So I should go to F now. And so F is 1.1875, 1.1875, and then it is G is, F on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis is 0.3125, okay? So I'm just going through and I'm naming all the points that my machine is going to end at, and then what I'll do is I'll come through and label all of those. So I'll label all of those in the this planning tool. So this is really the next step. You're going to label all of these points in your planning tool. Okay, so I'm going to end the video here as like a part 1 to this. So make sure you're watching the next one to actually figure out how to use these points in this planning tool. So this is our G&M code. This is where we're going to start talking about our absolute coordinate setting, our tool changes, how do you get to different points, and so on. So I want to keep the videos kind of short, so I'm going to end this one here, and then you guys can start on the next one once you've labeled all your points.